Welcome back to The Full View. The Independent Electoral System says it's all systems go for the voter registration weekend. This weekend, thousands of stations will be open between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. tomorrow. It marks the first registration drive as part of preparations for next year's elections. While there are nearly 40 million South Africans of voting age, the roll stands at 26.2 million, which means about a third of those eligible to vote have not yet registered. Many are new potential voters as young as 18 or 19 years of age. Well, Home Affairs, as always, plays a part when documents are required. Let's speak to the Home Affairs Deputy Minister, Njabulo Nzuza, who visited the Mangaung office in the Free State to monitor the state of readiness for this weekend. Deputy Minister, thank you for being with us. You are extending office hours this weekend. Is that for registration, people who want to register only, or for general services? Please just tell us about your role this weekend.
Yes, Home Affairs is opening its offices from 8 to 5, which is aligned with the IEC operating times over the voter registration weekends, which means we'll be open for both Saturday as well as Sunday. These openings are primarily for people who must come and collect their identity documents. We have about 135,000 uncollected identity documents, which are first-time issues. That means people who applied for the ID for the first time, and they are sitting in our offices across the country. That is why we are then opening these offices. Secondly, we're opening our offices to make sure that if a person loses their identity document and they want to go and register to vote, they can still come to our offices, and we'll be able to offer them what we call a TIC, which is a temporal identification certificate, which they can then use to go back to the IEC offices or in a voting district and register to vote. All in all, we do not expect anyone to say that they are not registered because they do not have the necessary document. Those who are part of the population register should just come to our offices, collect their ID, or come and collect a temporary identification certificate, which we issue on the spot.
How quickly can you rustle up a temporary ID?
Well, it's going to be very quickly. Same time, once you see a consultant, they will be able to print it out for you. We just do biometric verification, print it out for you, attach the picture. Then after that, you can then go to your nearest voting district.
All right, so bookings and I understand walk-ins will be allowed at Home Affairs offices across the country. Is that the case?
Yes, that is the case. We have our new system that we call BAPS, which is the branch appointment booking system. It has really worked wonders for us in terms of controlling queues. So we encourage those who are going to be collecting to also use that particular platform to book for their appointments if they want to go and collect. That will enable them to be given a specific slot, and when they come, they will be serviced in that particular slot. But we are not going to turn someone who comes and say, look, I want a TIC, look, I'm here to collect my ID.
Deputy Minister, a general question. As we prepare to exercise our democratic rights as South Africans next year, what is the state of documentation, would you say, very crucial for anybody to exercise any right? You said nobody should say they don't have an ID and that be their reasoning, but we do speak to people at the SABC who for various reasons can't get IDs. We know some have been waiting, some have been subject to identity theft or a marriage, but it's a real struggle for a few South Africans. How many of those sad cases are you dealing with? Can you give us a sense of the figures?
Yeah, let me start by saying that South Africa is second in Africa in terms of civic registration, which means that we're amongst the best in Africa, the first country being Egypt. And we have on a number of occasions participated in platforms like ID for Africa to share with our counterparts in Africa on how they can best pursue civic registration. Yes, I understand that there are people who do not have documents, either because they were not registered or entered into the population register early, and as such we have to run a process that we call late birth registration, system, which requires us to verify quite a number of things, because we have to also protect the credibility of the National Population Register to make sure that people that we insert in there are really South Africans. We do have those cases. We've just recently run a campaign dealing specifically with late birth registration, and we encourage those who are having issues to really come forward, and we'll find ways of dealing with those issues. But how do we deal with the issue and its core? The problem is that we have mothers and fathers who do not register the births of their children within 30 days. So we encourage mothers and both fathers, because sometimes in most of the birth certificates I've seen and issued, you do not find fathers. They are run away from responsibility. So we are saying everyone must take responsibility. When a child is born, make sure that you do a birth certificate for that child, so that they do not have to linger in the future without them having an identity number. But we still continue to assist them.
All right, thank you for your time, Deputy Minister of Home Affairs, Njabulo Nzuza. And talking about the registration weekend, earlier we asked, will you be registering to vote this weekend, or will you take the opportunity? Of course, it can be done online as well, but we'd love to hear from you, especially if you are young, but we'll also listen to you if you're old as well.